If you're looking for a most fun car under 10K, you should not go further than Fiat 500 Abarth. This small car doesn't look intimidating at all until you can hear the exhaust from its mighty 4-cylinder engine that produces 170 pound-feet of torque and 160 horsepower. And one of the easiest signs to recognize that this is the fun Fiat 500 is this Abarth logo. It appears actually all over the car. You can see it on the right side over here as well. If you go to the very front of the car, you can feel and see this mighty Abarth logo as well. As you can see, this car is actually very small. It's a 2-door, but surprisingly, it has rear seats. 2 rear seats, actually. And again, you can see the Abarth logo on the steering wheel as well. And you can see that this package is kind of cute. I get these Mini vibes because Mini likes to make everything round in their interior. And the same goes towards the Fiat 500. It actually has very aggressive wheels too. Again, the Abarth logo here. So this car wants you to know that this is not an ordinary Fiat 500. One of the most comical, but at the same time aggressive design elements of this car are those exhaust tips. You can see that they're massive and they actually produce a very good noise. But of course, this car doesn't come without its compromises and its cons. So let's discuss them inside the Fiat 500 Abarth. Surprisingly, even though it's a sporty and a little car, it's actually very easy to get in and out of the car. You are also welcomed by this giant steering wheel. And of course, you can notice right away the cheap interior quality of this car. And this is definitely a con, but I feel like this car makes it up by being much more fun when it comes to actually driving it. But actually, surprisingly, the ergonomics of this car are very good. As you can see, I have this armrest over here, and when I rest my arm here, my hand falls perfectly into the shifter. So it's kind of effortless to roll through the gears when you are operating this car. We have some good amenities too, like heated seats and those buttons on the steering wheel, which are very easy to use. But let me actually turn this car on so we can discuss how quirky and really fun this gauge cluster is. And I like the tone of this exhaust as well on startup. So as you can see, it's all in circular design as well. So we have the outer circle, which is your speed. We have the middle circle, which is your RPM. And the digital screen in the middle kind of shows you all the important information you want to know, like the time, fuel level, and your oil temperature. And one of the coolest touches is this separate gauge, which shows your turbo. And it has one of the biggest gear shift indicators I've seen in a long time. So let's actually jump on the road and discuss how it drives. The first thing you notice, of course, is this growl from this very small but a mighty engine. And it's just so fun to roll through the gears in this car. But of course, it doesn't come without its compromises, as I said. It's definitely one of the loudest cabins I've been at, and it's actually not very comfortable. The ride is very stiff, and it's due to several reasons. The suspension is very stiff because it's a sporty version of the Fiat 500. This car also has a very short wheelbase, and of course this car also has 100,000 miles on its clock already. And because I got this car from Turo, you know that it's a rental car, and probably some of the other people who rented this car were not very kind to the suspension as well. But of course, this car makes up for it in its fun to drive nature. and it gives you those little pops at the end. Oh my god, this car is so fun. This car has lots of miles and it's been a rental car for who knows how long, but you can pick those up under 10K in a very good condition. This car has lots of character, and it also has a very good fuel efficiency. Of course, because it's a very light car, weighing just 2,500 pounds. The estimate is 28 miles per gallon in the city and 34 on the highway. But the greatest thing is that you can push this car to its limits and drive like a maniac and still get a good fuel efficiency. I've only had this car for a couple of days, so I cannot talk too much about the reliability, but from what I've read online, this car is fairly reliable. You know, it's not going to be as reliable as Toyotas or Hondas, but from what I've heard, if you are maintaining the car properly, it should last you for a long time. Just so fun to roll through the gears in this car. Let me close the windows so we can hear me well. So again, just be aware that this car has a very, very bad ride quality and you will feel every single bump. But what are the other pros of this car? Obviously, this car is very small in its dimensions, so it is very easy to drive in the city. It's very easy to place your car into your lane, and it's very easy to avoid other cars as well. Since this car is so zippy with this little mighty engine, and it's very good at maneuverability, but it's kind of an ideal fun car for the city because you can just place the car wherever you want and, you know, beat the traffic by being faster and smaller than anyone else. I'm pretty sure most people will long for a better sound insulation, but what can you expect from this small car? And this car kind of makes up for it because you can feel more. Since it's a turbocharged engine, all of the torque comes up at 2,500 RPM. So even in fifth gear, if I want to overtake on the highway, I don't need to go into fourth or third gear. I can just stay in the highest fifth gear and do the overtake. But as I said, this car has lots of compromises. For instance, this car has so many rattles, and I know that this car has over 100,000 miles, but still, I would expect a bit better quality. And the other annoying part of driving this Fiat 500 Abarth is the driving position. It's just so tall, and I can feel like I'm not sitting in the car, but actually on top of it, like many other car reviewers pointed out about this car. The driving position kind of doesn't line up with the whole sporty driving experience of this car. It definitely is fun, but I would hope for a better driving position for sure. So let's actually show you how this car behaves while cornering. You can throw this car around in corners so well, and there's definitely some body roll, but still. And I can feel every single bump. Oh my god. Sometimes it's quite scary to drive this car, but coming out of corner, oh my god, it's so fun. It's definitely not the most confidence-inspiring car you will ever drive, but it's just so fun to find the limits of this car because it's so small and it's so zippy. The engine alone and the exhaust coming out of it just make this car so much more fun than it actually is. This car doesn't have blind spot monitoring or anything, but surprisingly, it is so easy to actually read your mirrors. My left mirror has the blind spot mirror integrated from the factory, and the right mirror is so huge that you can actually see all of your blind spots. Here's another corner we can experience. Let's go into second. Oh yeah, you can toss this car around corners. the manual transmission in this car is actually very, very forgiving. It's very hard to actually stall this car, and it's also very easy to drive this car smoothly, which I like. So if you want to find an affordable manual car on which you want to learn a manual transmission, I feel like this car is actually an ideal choice. It's not too powerful to scare away new drivers, but when they actually get it right and know how to drive a manual smoothly, they will appreciate the power from this car and how zippy it is. So it will last them for a long time. So would I recommend this car to anyone to buy? Of course, if you want a zippy, small car around town with a manual transmission, it will be lots of fun. But I feel like I've covered most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about in this drive. So let's actually do the final walk around this car and wrap this video. Here's the key. I just wanted to show you the boot space. Has a good amount of space down here, and you can put those seats down as well if you want for better cargo capacity. It's a very cute package, very European, even though it's not very Italian, because it's been overtaken by Chrysler. Please let me know in the comments below if you enjoy stuff like this, reviewing different cars. If you do, I will try to do more of these and find more opportunities to film these POV reviews for you guys. And if you are situated in the Metro Vancouver area or Southern California and would like me to review your car, please find the link below in the description where you can submit your car via the Google form. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.